Maori is the indigenous language of New Zealand. It's an Austronesian language, thought to have been brought to the islands around the early 14th century, and is related to many other languages of the Pacific, including Hawaiian, Malay, Fijian, Javanese, and Tagalog. These languages all descend from their reconstructed ancestor, known as Proto-Austronesian, which is believed to have been spoken in the early 4th millennium BC in modern Taiwan. In the approximately 5,500 years since this language began to fracture into different groups, it's changed in a number of predictable ways, which we can group together into periods or ancestral languages. Maori has gone through around 13 such periods. Likely due to the insular nature of the region where these have been spoken, division into separate branches occurs slightly more often than in Indo-European languages, and hence there are more proto-languages in approximately the same time frame. For this video, I'm not going to use this full great big list. I'll simplify it down to 5 major periods. These are the 5 best documented and understood stages, and will present fewest difficulties and controversies. Throughout all of these periods we'll follow the same list of words, which I'll read aloud at every stage and talk you through how each language changes to become the next. I'll also visually show these changes on screen by writing them out in sound change notation. If you know how to read this, the conventions I've used are on screen. If you don't worry about it too much, because I'll explain it aloud and you'll be able to see the effects in each stage of the language. Just before we get going, I'd like to mention that I've actually done a few other languages in this concept before. There are currently 3 other installments ready on my channel, and I have more planned, so make sure to subscribe if you want to catch them. Anyway, here is the list of words in Proto-Austronesian. I'm using conventional notation here, so just take a moment to familiarise yourself with that using this key. Alright, let's hear how they sound. Kalitsu, Kalapan, Aku, Penyu, Buak, Sikan, Kaan, Kasiw, Manuk, Matsa, Matukas, Nipen, Berni, Layar, Langit, Lima, Dusa, Tabus, Kujal, Kuluch, Sapat, Banua. Proto-Malayo-Polynesian is the most immediate step after Proto-Austronesian. We're not missing out any stages here. It's therefore rather similar to its parent, with only a few changes between them. These include the shift of final us to as, and the unconditioned changes of a few alveolar and palatal sounds. From my own research, it also seems that original H is often lost, but I haven't found any mention of this in the literature. Note that, while the word list before was written in special notation, these sound changes only use IPA, except where already noted. In this period, we see one irregular change involving the number 4. In Proto-Austronesian, this began with the alveolar fricative s. In Proto-Malayo-Polynesian, we would expect this to become glottal h, but instead see its total disappearance. It likely did pass through the expected stage, before being irregularly lost. Kanitu, Kalapan, Aku, Penyu, Buak, Ikan, Kaan, Kahiw, Manuk, Mata, Matukah, Nipen, Berni, Layar, Langit, Lima, Duha, Tabuch, Kujan, Kulu, Apat, Banua. The time between Proto-Malayo-Polynesian and Proto-Oceanic is far more than what we've seen before this point. There are therefore quite a lot more sound changes separating them. These include the loss of H and several simple consonant and vowel changes, including the loss of word final diphthongs and change of schwa to O. There's also a rework of the stop inventory, with loss of voiced stops and their redevelopment with the addition of prenasalization, and the emergence of new labiovelar consonants. The conditions surrounding this are complex, with many forms arising from contact with the Papuan languages, and yet more to avoid confusion between similar sounding words. They also arose somewhat unpredictably. The changes on screen indicate likely environments for change, but several exceptions exist, and potential loanwords and later changes muddy the waters a little. One notable irregular change at this stage is of the first-person singular pronoun aku, which loses its medial consonant. We also see a couple of changes affect the word kaan, meaning to eat. This word receives the addition of the transitive verb suffix e. The schwa in the middle of the word also disappears, as it's very weak next to a vowel, leaving us with kani in Proto-Oceanic. Kanito, kalopan, au, ponyo, puak, ikan, kani, kayu, manuk, mata, matuka, nipon, pongi, layar, langit, lima, rua, topu, pusan, kulu, pat, panua. Towards Proto-Polynesian we see a loss of a lot of consonants, reducing the Proto-Oceanic inventory of 23 consonants to the 13 of Proto-Polynesian. This is down to a number of changes, including loss of the y and r sounds, merging of ndr, ny and the labiovelar stops with pre-existing phones, and a collapse of the voicing distinction. Loss of consonants intervocalically does, however, create a new distinction in vowel length, where two identical or near-identical vowels merged to become one. We also see the elimination of word-final consonants, leaving open syllables the only permissible type in Proto-Polynesian, and emergence of the bilabial and glottal fricatives from voiceless stops. An irregular change affects the word topu, meaning sugarcane, where p is lost between two vowels, which then merge to form a long or. We also see what appears to be an irregular gain of vowel length in the word for four, but this can be explained by understanding that all Proto-Polynesian words, except unstressed grammatical elements, required two moras, where each mora is equivalent to a short vowel. After loss of word final t, this word would be left with only one mora, so unusual compensatory lengthening applies to make up the additional mora. Aitu, alofa, au, fonu, fua, ika, kai, kau, manu, mata, matua, nifo, pongi, la, langi, lima, rua, to, uha, ulu, fa, whenua. The final set of changes brings us to Maori. Here we see loss of even more consonants, bringing the total to just 10. Those lost completely are the glottal stop and fricative, and the lateral, which falls together with R. S also debuccalizes to H, and the bilabial fricative splits, depending on whether it's close to fricatives, round vowels, or a word boundary. Since Europeans arrived to settle New Zealand in the early 19th century, the language has gradually grown more similar to English, particularly over the last century. This has resulted in aspiration of stop consonants and certain vowel changes becoming more and more common, particularly among the modern Maori youth. I've put these changes beneath the line on screen, as they are still ongoing and not yet universal among native speakers. The one irregular change at this stage is deletion of the velar nasal in the word for night. As with sugarcane in the last stage, the vowels contract into a long vowel, leaving us with the modern Maori word po. Aitu, aroha, au, honu, hua, ika, kai, kau, manu, mata, matua, niho, po, ra, rangi, rima, rua, to, ua, uru, fa, whenua. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out the other videos in this series. At the time of recording, I've done German, Italian and Welsh, and have another planned for the future. If there's a language you'd like to see, let me know, but for now, I'll see you in the next video.